The Jets head down to Miami to try and finish strong on an underachieving season. Brian Costello is the New York Post Jets beat writer, and he's on the line because even though they might be out the playoffs, there are still a lot of players that are for darn sure playing for something on Sunday. Kaz, it's a year where I thought Elijah Moore was going to have 100 catches. I thought that the Jets were going to at least play in the AFC Championship. It's going to be none of that. On Sunday, they're playing the last game of the season. What would you consider a good game on Sunday?
Well, Brandon, selfishly, I consider a good game a quick one, tomorrow. So I don't have to watch a lot. I don't have to watch too much Joe Flacco versus Skylar Thompson. But, with the Jets, score a touchdown, Brandon. They haven't scored a touchdown in the last 2 games. They've scored 4 in 5 weeks. So can the offense just show some life with Joe Flacco at quarterback? I'm not confident they will, but I think that would be a positive. And a win, I mean, yes, it's the playoffs are out of reach, but you really don't want to go in the offseason on a 6-game losing streak. That is a bad taste for the offseason. So if they can win this and spoil the Dolphins' playoff hopes, I think, that would be something that they could at least feel good about going in the offseason. There wouldn't be such a cloud over the organization as the offseason begins.
Yeah, for me to say 100 catches for one guy and you're saying the offense just score a touchdown, just that simple to an NFL team, I can only imagine what that receiver room is like right now. And, I mean, let's talk about that passing game because Joe Flacco, he started the season, now he's going to finish it. Zach Wilson, your number 2 overall, he's your number 2 for the game. So you think Zach Wilson's going to get any reps as one final evaluation, and where do you see this quarterback drama heading into the near future?
I don't think Wilson will get reps by design, Brandon. I don't think that the evaluation for this seassion's over. Right? They saw what they needed to see against Jacksonville, and if they wanted to evaluate him, he'd be starting this game, right? They're putting Flacco in there because they do not have faith in Wilson. They don't want him to play behind this offensive line. The way this season has gone, though, Brandon, will Zach Wilson get in the game? Probably. Something will happen to Flacco, and Wilson will have to play just because that's the way this has gone all season with the quarterbacks. In terms of the future, Jets have some really big decisions to make, Brandon. And I think, they have really gotten behind Zach Wilson. Robert Saleh said this week, through hell or high water, they're going to develop him. So those are pretty strong words. I think he's going to be back in some capacity next year. Mike White, I don't know what they're going to do with him in free agency. And then they have to decide, do they go out and chase a Jimmy Garoppolo? Do they chase a Derek Carr? Do they try to swing a trade for a quarterback? These are going to be huge decisions that, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, Woody Johnson have to make over the next month or 2.
Well, these decisions, do you think they're going to be made immediately after the game? And do you think this core unit in terms of coaching will be back next year?
Yeah, no, the player stuff will play out over time, Brandon. I think they'll have meetings going forward. I think they'll probably take a break at the end of next week and then come back in a few weeks and have meetings about the personnel and what they're going to do going forward. In terms of the coaching staff, all eyes are on Michael LaFleur, right? He's the one who's in danger. I don't think Woody Johnson would pull the trigger on Robert Saleh after 2 years. Look, this team is in a much better place than it was 2 years ago when he got hired. Yes, it's a disappointing ending, but when you look at it, 7 wins, 3 more than last year, they are heading in the right direction. They just need to find a quarterback. But LaFleur, if Woody Johnson comes in and says, someone has to answer for this, possible 6-game losing streak, for this offensive futility, LaFleur could be in trouble. I don't think Robert Saleh wants to fire him. It's going to be a question of whether he gets pressure from above to fire him.
Brian Costello, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon.